Hello guys, welcome to the video. This is like a really crazy one that I honestly did not see myself making. I don't even know where to start. It's been very unplanned compared to when I went to Canada. Like when I left for Canada, I had like a year to plan. I don't know if you guys have seen those videos. They're obviously from a long time ago. Maybe I'll put a little clip in. We both have been invited because he got messages the other day as well when I didn't even think to check. But basically when I decided to move to Canada, that was like over a year of being able to plan out the process. And then obviously before I had even started my visa, that was like months of looking into my visa and everything and applying and whatever. So I had a really, really long time to kind of like get excited, get planned, get organized, and really like wrap my head around the whole thing. If you don't know, like I've lived in Canada the last 3 years. I was supposed to stay for 2, and then I ended up getting like another visa and stayed for another year. We were living in Alberta at that point and didn't have any like concrete winter plans yet, and obviously feeling a little homesick. And that was just like a combination of things that were going on that we were like, okay, we kind of want to go home. But we weren't going home for a specific thing, and we didn't have a specific plan in place for going home. So I think that's why this change has been possible, because we didn't have like a concrete plan back in Adelaide either. So basically, I don't even know when Stefan decided this or when he first thought of the idea or whatever, but at some point, either like on our way home, honestly, I think it could have been when we were still in Canada, he was like, we should try and do like a ski season in Australia, because obviously there is snow in Australia, there are mountains, there are ski resorts. But I had never been, I'd heard of them, but don't really know anything about them. Vow Resorts, who own Whistler, also own like Perisher, which I knew of. I knew of that, but other than that, I still have basically no knowledge or experience of anything to do with ski season in Australia. Stefan has sort of brought it up. I had said to him, you know, I'd be probably keen. The ski season for Australia is opposite to Canada, so it's like June, July, August kind of thing, as far as I'm aware, like kind of winter months, right? So we were going home in late October, early November, and we're like, okay, so we could spend like 6 months in Adelaide, just like work for a bit, whatever, and then we could go over for the winter season. So that was like our plan going into it, but again, it was like a very rough plan. So then me and Stefan, when we got home, we both actually went back to our old jobs, which was funny because yeah, it was very familiar, and it was just kind of comforting. Both of our old bosses both wanted us back, so it was kind of like we both thought, okay, let's just do this. We made it clear that it could only be for like a short amount of time. We weren't sure of our plan, so we weren't telling anyone like we're going to be back for a long time or anything. Plus also the fact that we had already worked in those jobs a long time, and it wouldn't make sense to go back to those jobs long term, because you know, we were at the ceiling of our potential at both of those jobs. Well, him more than me. Mine had more opportunity, but I think the idea of it was better than what was actually going on. So it was kind of good that we didn't have plans to like stay in Adelaide long term, because it would have been very easy to slip into old patterns. And obviously both of our jobs were really, really good and not complaining at all, but we didn't have a lot of potential there for growth. So, and that's, I guess, what we're both interested in. Honestly, we're both kind of lost in general, to be honest. I don't know if, you know, if you've been following long enough, but like I've always been a bit of a wanderer, a bit of a lost kind of person. So I'm just kind of a see where the world takes me kind of thing. And I mean, I've been lucky that I actually managed to make it to Canada and do something different, which was really good for me, because yeah, I have no goals, like no career goals, no life plans, no anything, which kind of sounds depressing, but it is what it is. So that's why we were like, okay, it's going to make sense for us to go do something different. Although the thought of it's still really scary, because it's like we start one thing in Adelaide, go off again. So is it go off for a ski season and come back? What is it? So at that point, Stefan was like, so at that point, Stefan thought, okay, maybe we should look for something that's a year-round or permanent position, not just ski season mindset. And I thought, okay, I was kind of going with the flow, to be honest, because again, I know nothing about this place or how anything works. I just thought, okay, you do you, bro, you do you. That was what my plan was, which is very unlike me, but I guess I just, you know, after Canada, my head was just still all over the place. That's when we started, well, mainly Stefan started looking for year-round positions, and he applied for a job and surprisingly found a job, and the job said, hey, we need people like ASAP. So he said, hey, I got a job and I think we need to move. So that was very, very shocking. This all happened, it felt like very quickly. So it was in December that we started like applying for jobs and looking into it more seriously, and didn't have a lot of time to give notice to our jobs, but obviously as soon as we knew the plan, we told them. And it was kind of a little disappointing because I did want to spend a good chunk of time in Adelaide. So yeah, it was not an easy decision by any means, but the opportunity that Stefan got was just too good to turn away. It was too good to turn away. The hours and the pay and like the opportunity, so many factors was like, this is such a good opportunity and I think you should take it. And for context, Stefan was really interested in moving to Jindabyne, which is like a little town near Perisher and Thredbo. So again, these are all like new terms to me. This is brand new, like what the heck. So that's the kind of jobs that he was looking for, and that's where he did get the job. So I was like, okay, all signs point to this. So then from that point, we were saying, okay, like this is happening. So I think we'd already organized this, that we'll go for a little trip down to Jindabyne anyway to just check it out. Down, across, up, I don't know, wherever it is in relation to Adelaide after Christmas, because that's when we would have time off. And we said, okay, we'll go do a little trip there at Christmas and then like come back. But at that point, we didn't realize that Stefan was actually going to start early January. So our little holiday trip turned into, okay, we need to get everything sorted like right freaking now and then come back and then you go again. During that time, I was also applying for work, and I actually managed to get a job with Thredbo, which I'll talk about more later because that's like a whole separate thing. Let's just focus on us moving for now. So my work, I was not really too stressed because I had secured a job. The thing that was really stressful for us was that we didn't have a car. We'd been looking for a car basically since we got back to Adelaide, but Stefan was very particular on what he wanted. We didn't want to spend a lot of money because we want to be putting money into our home loan. We don't want to be spending a lot of money on cars. We're not really car people. Stefan's a mechanic, so he can fix a lot of things. So it did make sense for us to put 30, 40K in, or 20, even 20K into a car. We just wanted something, just a little run around for now. But the catch was we needed something that was, well, not needed, but wanted something that was all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive so that we don't have to carry snow chains in Jindabyne, and it's just like a little better to have like an SUV kind of style, right? So that's what we were looking for, and honestly, we could not find a car for a really, really long time, and that was one of our biggest stresses during that time was, you know, we were looking at cars, and obviously, like I said, Stefan's a mechanic, well, was a mechanic, so he has a really good eye for cars, and he just didn't want to buy like a piece of shit car. And when you're looking at cars that are around like 5 to 10 grand, obviously a lot of them are like not great. So that was really scary for a little bit, but actually we did end up finding a car. Honestly, it was probably only like a week or two before Christmas, and obviously we were driving to Jindabyne after Christmas, which is a 12-hour or over 12-hour drive / like 1,000 kilometers. So yeah, like I said, that was a really, really stressful time with that. Thankfully, everything was okay. Again, I got to credit Stefan because he put a lot of work into the car, fixing the car, servicing it, making sure everything was all good. And thankfully, it got us to Jindabyne really safely, so that was amazing. Yeah, didn't really miss a beat. It has had a few issues, but we're kind of working on it. We're not really driving it too much right now, but it is what it is. It got us to Jindabyne. That was the most important thing. So then we had to organize securing a rental, and I had already started that process just in case anyway. And we decided to look at a few private rentals, and again, very lucky, we ended up finding one that was really, really awesome, which is what I'm in right now. I don't know if it was luck or what it is, but yeah, we're super, super grateful for what we got. We decided we want to live in the town of Jindabyne rather than out of it, because there's a lot of options like out of town that's a little cheaper. But because we weren't sure on what's going on with the car, we just were like, let's be somewhere central so that it's easier. I'd rather pay more and not have to worry. And something I should note that I've noticed already, it's a lot easier to find housing in summer rather than winter. Similar style to Whistler, obviously. Housing, there's high demand for housing or beds in winter because everyone comes over for winter, so it's better to secure something in summer, and it's a lot easier to secure something. But I did notice when I was looking for rentals, a lot of them were only 6 months or, you know, only till winter. So when we found something that was 12 months, we thought, okay, we need to snag this right now because I don't want to deal with that in winter, you know. Thankfully got that organized when we came to our little trip over at Christmas, and luckily we did a trip of some of our stuff already, like mostly Stephen's stuff, and we were allowed to leave it here while we like went back to Adelaide. So we dropped some stuff off and then we drove all the way back. Stephen had probably like 5 days, no, maybe less. We got back on the Monday, I think that was like the 29th of December or something, and we both weren't working obviously during Christmas holidays, which again was very lucky. And then Stephen spent a few days just like making the car ready to go, giving it service and whatever. Because of how it worked out, I decided to stay an extra week in Adelaide, mainly due to work. The first week was we needed a lot of coverage, and my boss had done me so many favors. The fact that he even took me back as a worker and looked after me, I just felt it wasn't the right thing to do, to just leave him high and dry when he needed help. So, and also gave me a chance to, you know, say goodbye to people and pack up the house and clean the house and everything, because we had I haven't told you, but we were living in like a share house / basically private house, which was very nice. But I had to clean up the whole house because we obviously weren't ready to move out. So yeah, then what we did was Stephen actually drove back to Jindabyne on his own in one day on the Friday, because he was starting work on the Tuesday, I think, or the Monday. So yeah, he drove over, which was really scary, but I talked to him on the phone like the whole time and it was fine. Yeah, he started work on, I think the Tuesday, and we spent 8 nights apart, which was crazy because we've literally never spent any time apart. Wait, I don't even know, like truly we've not spent more than a night apart in I don't even know how long. Like probably not since we got together, which is crazy. So that was also kind of healing in that we just had some space for a little bit. And especially like the start of the year, I don't know, it was just a good reset. I felt good chance to like just be independent for a minute and miss each other and that kind of thing. So that was honestly very healthy. And then the original plan was that he would drive back, get me / get the rest of our stuff. But what we found was we'd already taken stuff on that first trip. So then the second trip, it was like he had packed everything. There was barely anything left, just a few of my things. And I looked at flight prices and I said to Stephen, like, it probably makes more sense for me to just fly over. The prices versus the fuel of coming all the way back is basically the same. Plus, you know, if he had drove back, he would have spent his whole weekend driving. Obviously, I would have driven as well, but that first 12 hours, he would have done it on his own. There's just no point him spending a whole weekend driving to get me when I can just catch a flight. So I caught a flight to Canberra, which is the closest big airport, which is only a 2-hour drive to Canberra from Jindabyne compared to the 12 or 13 to Adelaide. So I flew in, and again, that's a very scary thing for me. I'm not a good flyer. I know you would think that I would be a good flyer because I've been traveling all over the world. Let me tell you, I'm not a good flyer. I'm terrified of flying, and I don't want to get upset. Oh my god. So I felt fine. I was a little stressed when I first got to the airport because my bag was too heavy, but it was fine. My worst part is takeoff. So just takeoff is the worst thing. I don't know. I'm going to go off on a tangent. I don't know if I've got like an inner ear thing. Maybe that's what causes it. But when I'm taking off, to keep in mind, I have my eyes closed because it's just like, I can't. Like, I need to be very, like, I need to disassociate as much as I can. Like, it's bad. So it probably doesn't help that I have my eyes closed, but when we're taking off, like I'm spinning around like that. That's what it feels like. And it's just like, it's just, oh my God, it's so awful. I can't even begin to describe how awful it is for me. So, but then after that, I'm usually fine. And I'm obviously scared of turbulence, but have a few tricks that I can do to help keep myself calm and whatever. I did hear them say that it's going to be bumpy coming into Canberra. And I was like, okay, no worries. That's great. So I was mentally prepared that, like, normally coming down, I'm totally fine. Like, I don't have a care in the world. If it's like a little bit of turbulence, maybe a little bit, but generally, like, yeah, coming down, I'm not scared, which is, I don't know if that's weird, but I'm not scared. However, this time was, it was truly the worst experience I've had on a plane. Maybe, yeah, probably the worst, I would say. Basically, it's a smaller plane because it's like a rural plane, and like a little bit smaller, not massively smaller, but definitely smaller. And obviously turbulence is, you know, like I picture we're in jelly, right? A bit of jelly. I'm telling you, it was so bad. Thank God it only lasted for like 5 to 10 minutes, not consistently, but just like on and off. But true, and I was on the wing too, which probably didn't help the situation. But truly, the plane, because I watched this time, truly, we was like going like that. And like, you know, when planes do that before they crash, that's truly what I was feeling. And mentally saying my goodbyes, but very calm. I was like, I can't, because I'm very like obsessive, you know, and anxious. Obviously, I had planned for the plane to crash, like mentally prepared myself. So when that was happening, I was, well, you know, I've been preparing for this, so it's like I had accepted it. But still, it's never fun to accept your death, you know. I've only had that one other time on a plane where I accepted my death, but that was because, sorry, this is a hella tangent. That's because I was asleep. It was probably after a festival, I think. I was asleep, having sleep paralysis, and the plane was going down, but it felt like I was awake, but the plane was truly going down. And I accepted my death, and then I woke up. It's very hard to go about your day when you've just accepted your death. Let me tell you that. So anyway, yeah, we survived. And then once I got to Canberra, I saw it was so windy that like if you were out, when I was outside, I had my suitcase, like the suitcase would fly away. That's how windy it was. I was like, no wonder that we were like that. Like, my God, it was it was terrible. I don't know if it's always like that going into Canberra, but my plan was like, oh, whenever I go to Adelaide, I'll just fly from Canberra. I don't know if I want to anymore. So yeah, that was a lot. But I touched down in Canberra, and then we drove to Jindabyne, which, like I said, was only 2 hours. So yeah, and then I moved in, and it's all good. And then now it's been like 3 days. I start work tomorrow. I might have to make another video on that, but I really want to, basically, to summarize, I want to do some content on obviously ski season in Australia, but also living in like in the mountains. I guess I call it in the mountains. I live in the snowy mountains. So yeah, I would love to do some more content on that, because yeah, like I said, I know nothing about this area, and I haven't looked how much content is online, but probably not too much. So yeah, I'd love to show you guys the experience of doing a ski season in Australia, and just continue posting, yeah, my life and where I'm at. In terms of the direction of this channel, I still will be posting Canada content, because I have a lot that I still feel like is important to say. And even though I'm back in Australia, I still have many connections in Whistler, and still am more than happy to help with helping you guys get to Canada. That's still my passion. So if you guys need anything, like comment, Instagram message me, whatever you need, I can help out for sure. And yeah, if not, you just along for the ride. Thank you for watching. Thanks for my big spiel. Hopefully more like fun content coming soon. This is more just like a catch up, because I haven't updated you what my life's been like. I've been very MIA. Thanks for bearing with me while I haven't had much content out, but what I was going to say is I haven't felt as excited for this because it's been very quick and very stressful and very unorganized, and I don't do well in those sort of situations. That doesn't give me, like, when I'm in flight or fight, that's not when I'm going to be like feeling emotions of joy and excitement and whatever. So yeah, it has been a little bit of a period of not feeling excited and just feeling stressed about getting here. So now that I'm here and I'm obviously starting work tomorrow, I think those feelings are gonna start coming out, hopefully. Yeah, I am really, really excited for this next chapter. And it came up in my gratitude journal. I'll share it on here. I thought this was really special. I can't remember what it said now, but basically along the lines of, your dreams will feel more familiar than you expect. And I feel that is strongly relating to the fact that, Whistler was very dear to me, and that environment was so just like a great environment, and my job, I loved my job so much, and it was sad having to leave, but I feel like I'm being given a second chance to get to do something like that again, and get to be passionate about working holidays and ski seasons again. And I'm so grateful that I'm get to experience it again. But yeah, it's been a crazy time, and yeah, I don't know. That's all I've got. I'm gonna go continue my life now. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really do appreciate it. And yeah, like I said, I'm gonna keep making content on Canada. If you guys are moving to Canada, still keep an eye out for that. I obviously got my playlist and whatever side it'll be on. And yeah, if you have done a working holiday in Australia or like have visited the Snowy Mountains, let me know in the comments, because yeah, I need your advice now, guys. Truly, like, I'm gonna be messaging you guys to like tell me what the heck, because I know nothing and I really am excited to learn. So yeah, thank you. I really appreciate you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.